is eligible to play now, the Preston forward, and he gets his first cap for the Republic of Ireland this evening. Conor Hourihan also gets a start, as does Callum O'Dowda. So the team in full. Darren Randolph is in goal. If we're going with a back three, it'll be Seamus Coleman, Shane Duffy and Kieran Clark. Cyrus Christie and Stephen Ward, who wins his 50th cap tonight, would be the wing backs. Jeff Hendrick, Conor Hourihan in the middle of midfield, and then possibly Callum O'Dowda and Callum Robinson playing support of John Walters. The Welsh team, Richie, also pretty interesting. A lot of the big names are there. Gareth Bale starts. He's now Wales' record goal scorer after a hat-trick against China in Ryan Giggs' first game in charge. Aaron Ramsey also plays, so too does Joe Allen, but they've included a lot of young players, including, most interestingly, the 17-year-old Ethan Ampadu, who plays his football with Chelsea. He's not 18 for another week or so. He is the son of the former Ireland under-21 international Kwame Ampadu, and there was some hope, I think, around FAI circles for a time that maybe he may declare for the Republic of Ireland. England were also chasing, and maybe that, fully enough, with all that's happened with Declan Rice, maybe that was playing in Ryan Giggs' mind, that he's going to get him capped tonight to rule out any possibility that he would change his mind. So he's probably going to play in the centre midfield, a real holding position for the 17-year-old. They've also included Connor Roberts, who is going to play at right back, the young defender from Swansea, and Chris Mepham, who is a really highly rated centre back, just 20 years of age, from Brentford. That means Chris Gunter, after 62 consecutive appearances for Wales in competitive games, he drops out of the side. So there are a couple of changes. The Welsh team, Wayne Hennessy in goals, a back four of Connor Roberts, Chris Mepham, Ashley Williams and Ben Davies. It'll be Ampadu alongside Allen and Ramsey in the middle midfield, and then David Brooks, who started the season brilliantly at Bournemouth, and Tom Lawrence, who's also playing good football at Derby, playing around the brilliant Gareth Bale.
Nathan, the worry from my point of view would be, and God knows my worries don't matter here, is the common held belief is that Martin O'Neill doesn't inform his team until everybody else knows what the starting 11 is tonight. So if we're looking at a slightly different system, if we're looking at Seamus Coleman possibly operating on the right hand side of a three, is that this side are unfamiliar with playing that way, with the personnel being deployed in the positions they're going to be deployed tonight. That's got to be a concern.
Well, that has been the constant concern throughout the last couple of years. I think really since these stories started to emerge from the squad, that Martin O'Neill really doesn't announce his team until an hour beforehand. If you are going to three at the back, and they have tried it during some of the friendlies over the last year or so, probably because we are so well stocked defensively, and I think maybe with Declan Rice in mind at the time, there was a thought that he could play in there as well. But you don't get the sense that they are playing three at the back in every single training session, and that this is the way that Irish football is going to go for the next 2 years as we build towards Euro 2020. Personally, I'm not in favour of Seamus Coleman playing in a three-man defence. I think he's one of the best right-backs in the Premier League. You try and get the most out of him in its attacking sense. Maybe Martin O'Neill has seen him enough times at right-back and realised that that's not the way Ireland play. We don't see enough of him in the opposition half. So why not have somebody who's very comfortable on the ball in the right of a three-man defence? It does mean he can get Cyrus Christie in there. I'm sure there's a lot of people who would feel that maybe Matt Doherty deserved his chance on the right hand side, the way he started the season with Wolves. It's going to be really interesting to see the opening 10 minutes, 15 minutes, as to whether there's a real understanding of what these players are expected to do. Even as I talk about that potential 3-5-2, where are Callum O'Dowda and Callum Robinson going to play? Like, Callum O'Dowda, from what we've seen with him with Ireland, generally plays as more of an out-and-out winger, but if there's two wing backs, he's going to play in a bit more of a central role. Or does he play a sort of 3-4-3 where O'Dowda and Robinson both play off Walters? It's needs must in a way for Martin O'Neill. He's missing an enormous amount of players, from Brady, Long, Maguire, McCarthy, Hogan, Brown. That's even before we get into Carter and Denmark. And there's a lot potentially to lose in the short term and the medium term as well if you don't do well in this. But it's hard to remember a time when there's been such little expectation or hype around a game. Coming over on the flight, I came over at lunchtime, and the plane from Dublin was half empty, and a lot of the Irish fans had spare tickets. There's no great desire to be here. There's no great buzz around the stadium. Maybe the Nations League hasn't really caught fire so far. I would have thought, when you look at this Welsh side, still just over 2 years on from reaching a European Championship semi-final, and the chance to see Gareth Bale playing for his country in Ryan Giggs' first competitive game, that everyone would turn out in force. But again, talking to some of the Welsh journalists ahead of the game, they were saying it'll be interesting to see what the general attitude towards Giggs is from this Cardiff crowd, who I guess fell out of love with Ryan Giggs pretty quickly from all the times he never bothered to turn up for international duty. So yeah, it doesn't feel, it's certainly very different from 11 months ago, the atmosphere around here. But there's not a huge amount of hope, I don't think, from the Irish supporters, even though we went through the last campaign undefeated away from home, some huge results here in Cardiff, in Vienna as well, getting the draw over in Belgrade. This really does feel like it's an uphill task.
Do we get a sense of what kind of style is going to be deployed by Ryan Giggs? Because obviously enough, it's his first competitive game. He had those games off in the Far East, one of which is against China, of course, in the summer, but you can't really gauge much from those. Do we know what kind of football he's going to favour? Do we know what kind of system he's going to be using? It's lined up here pretty much as what 4-2-3-1. But yeah, we're kind of taking a step into the unknown with Ryan Giggs to a degree at international level here.
Yeah, and all we've really seen of Ryan Giggs as a manager was the documentary on ITV where he was
doesn't do him any favours, Nathan.
God-awful pre-match speech where the other team are going to try and win this and the opposition supporters won't like it. Go out and try your best, lads. You would imagine that he's probably learned a few lessons from that. He's a Welsh manager. You're going to base your team around Gareth Bale and getting the very best out of him. That's what Chris Coleman did. Chris Coleman was probably in a slightly different position in that they sort of grew together. He was in charge of Wales before Bale became the worldwide superstar, before he made the move to Real Madrid, made him such a central figure. Bale seemed to buy into everything. In fact, I even remember the friendly here, was it must be 5 years ago at this stage. Bale had just made the move.
Paddy Madden's debut that night, Nathan. That's what that's remembered for.
Yes, it was a very memorable day, all right. But Bale was here that night. He just signed for Real Madrid that week. He didn't play, he was injured, but he still turned up. He still showed his commitment. And Ryan Giggs needs that to continue. Now, can Ryan Giggs say to Gareth Bale, I need you to turn up for every single match? I think Bale genuinely does love playing for his country. He loves coming back here in front of his home crowd, into his home city, and delivering. And when you look back at Euro 2016 and their qualification, he delivered time and time again. He scored 7 of their 11 goals. He scored all the important goals every time a question was asked of him. He's got some special boots on tonight because he surpassed Ian Rush as the all-time leading goal scorer. You sense he's going to really enjoy this. Didn't play particularly well at the Aviva Stadium 18 months ago. Didn't play at all 12 months ago or 11 months ago when we got that win. But it looks as though he started this season in brilliant form. He scored in each of Real Madrid's 3 matches, and how do you stop him if he's in the mood?
You play 2 right backs, Nathan, like we're doing tonight. We've got Cyrus Christie and Seamus Coleman on him. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, I'd be interested to hear what Gary thinks as to where Bale will play and whether or not, because you would think in a way maybe playing Christie and Coleman out there means you're sort of double teaming Bale and you're giving yourself plenty of cover, but he may not actually end up drifting out to the left hand side too often.
More often than not, he'll be playing through the middle. I think you get your best player there. I think the setup of the team suggests that Lawrence will play on the left hand side. Brooks, the young player who's impressed at Bournemouth, will play on the right hand side. But certainly that is the challenge ahead, and you're quite right to identify him. He's a world-class player. But as Nathan said, I think he's just one of the lads within this world squad. That superstar status means nothing to him. He generally is one of those players who's just all in to help the squad, the team. But certainly the key to stopping this Wales team is stopping him. And we managed to do it in Dublin, where Bale didn't have much to do. He had that one brilliant moment where the shot just went past the far post, a brilliant moment of individual brilliance. But I remember that horror tackle on John O'Shea. It was lucky that he didn't see a red in what was a feisty encounter, but certainly all the Wales fans know just how important he is to their team.
We'll have more from Gary and Nathan in the build-up to tonight's game, a 7:45 kickoff, and it would seem from Ireland a 3-5-2 tonight with Seamus Coleman operating on the right hand side of that trio in defence, in along with Kieran Clark and Shane Duffy. Going to change tack just ever so slightly as we look ahead to the game. Leon Blanche from Boyle Sports joins us on the line. Evening, Leon.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm just wondering, Leon, I'm trying to stay positive. I am, but keep with me here. We look at this 3-5-2 from the Republic of Ireland tonight. We look at the enforced changes in personnel that Martin O'Neill's had to go with tonight, and it's kind of difficult to see an Ireland victory tonight, or at least to be very, very hopeful of one. I'm wondering if the markets kind of reflect that tonight.
Yeah, look, there's been absolutely zero support for the boys in green. They've drifted all the way from 7-2 now out to 9-2 to actually win the game, and there's been plenty of support for this Welsh side. They were even money, and they've now gone odds on at 3-4. I'm a little bit surprised going 3-5-2 that Doherty from Wolverhampton didn't slot into the back three and put Seamus as the wing back. But look, he's gone with Christie. If that's what we're believed, that it's going to be 3 at the back, Cyrus Christie is the right wing back. Surely you've got to play a Premier League player in the back three and push Seamus Coleman as the right wing back. But look, we've pushed Ireland out to 5-1 as a special for offtheball.com/Boyle Sports. But I think the boys in green are going to struggle tonight. I'd be very happy if we got a draw. I think it would be a good result with the amount of players that are missing. And I think if Martin O'Neill was offered a draw right now, he'd surely snap your hand off. We are fearful of Wales. I think they owe us one after James McLean scoring that winner in what was ultimately a playoff to get to the World Cup playoffs. And it's going to be hard. Gareth Bale, as Nathan rightly said, he scored 3 out of 3 games for Real Madrid. We saw what he did in the Champions League final when he came off the bench against Liverpool. He's the only world-class player on show tonight. Hopefully he has an off night from an Irish perspective, but I do worry about our chances this evening.
Leon, we've seen Callum Robinson parachuted into the Irish setup from not necessarily obscurity, but I don't think he was on anybody's radar in terms of international football before May, really. And here he is making his first Ireland start tonight. It seems to be in his hands and those of John Walters that we've entrusted the duties of getting goals tonight. It's difficult to see where the Ireland goals are going to come from if they don't come from that front too, I guess.
Yeah, look, you're right. I mean, it is, but it was interesting. Last night, Mark Lawrenson said that Robinson would play very well if he had a big target man to play in behind. So he's got a big target man now in John Walters, and if he can just find a little bit of space behind Walters, maybe he can create something for us. It's a big, big game for the young lad to go away, play against Wales, and maybe he'll step up to the occasion. And sometimes when you're a young lad, you don't really fear it. You just go for it. So let's see how we get on. But as I said, I'm a bit fearful tonight. All the money is for Wales. I'd be very, very happy and content if Ireland were able to get a draw. I think that'd be a good result. And then hopefully when we play Denmark in October, hopefully they'll still have that commercial dispute and we'll play against the futsal players.
Quite possibly. So we might even get a game ourselves if we get a Denmark jersey for that one, Leon. Come here, I'm just wondering as well, Nathan and Gary touched upon it there in just their build-up a moment ago, the feisty nature of the last 2 encounters in particular. We think back to that game at the Aviva where Seamus Coleman had his leg broken and moments before Gareth Bale was lucky to avoid a red card for being sent off. It looks as if, they're set up to be a very physical side again, Wales, and you see the likes of Ashley Williams playing at the back, the inexperience perhaps of Ethan Ampadu. There could be a scope for, several yellow cards across this one, and disciplinary records are going to be important as this thing progresses.
Oh, they certainly are. I'm a little bit surprised now. I haven't heard if Myler is injured or was he just not selected. It looks as if he just hasn't been selected.
Yeah, he's on the bench tonight, yeah.
He's on the bench. Now, I thought he played an exceptional game in Cardiff the last time we won 1-0. He was the kind of anchor man in the middle of the park. I was fully expecting himself and Hendrick to sit in front of our back four, but he's been left on the bench. He wears his heart on his sleeve. I just heard the back end of what Gary and what Nathan were saying about Bale. He really loves putting on the Welsh shirt, and he almost goes in for challenges for Wales that I've never seen him go in playing for Real Madrid or even before that when he played for Spurs. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's plenty of yellow cards tonight. I think the one thing about Gareth Bale, you've got to try and get stuck into him. You've got to let him know that you're here. And he is the best player on the field. But if you get stuck into him early, maybe you'll just put him off his game. And maybe that's what Martin is thinking, playing Seamus and playing Cyrus on the right-hand side of our defence if it is a 3-5-2. But Bale can drift anywhere. He can go down the middle. He can go over to the right side. He can come back to the left side. I almost think he's got a free role for Wales because he is their main man. And when you've got a target man like Vokes, don't be surprised if Gareth Bale is hovering in around him for any knockdowns or any layoffs. He's the man that if we can keep him quiet, we'll have a big chance. We managed to do it in both Dublin and in Cardiff. We managed to keep Christian Eriksen quiet in the first leg of the playoff in Copenhagen. So hopefully tonight we can nullify Bale, come out of Cardiff with a draw, and then it's all to play for.
All right, Leon Blanche, thanks so much for taking time out. Leon Blanche from Boyle Sports there, looking ahead to tonight's game. Just to recap the teams for you, the Republic of Ireland, it seems lining out with a 3-5-2. Darren Randolph definitely starts in goal anyway. It looks like that back three is comprised of Seamus Coleman, Shane Duffy and Kieran Clark, with Cyrus Christie and Stephen Ward on the occasion of his 50th cap, the ex-Bows man on the occasion of Bows' 128th birthday today. Winning his 50th cap is Stephen Ward. In midfield there, Conor Harahan, Jeff Hendrick and Callum O'Dowda, and up front the debuting Callum Robinson alongside John Walters. For Wales, Wayne Hennessy starts in goal on the right side of defence for them. We have Roberts, we've got Ashley Williams and Meffam in the centre of defence, and out on the left is Ben Davies of Tottenham. In midfield for them, we have Ethan Ampadu, previously of Chelsea of course, and Joe Allen sits in midfield. Then in behind Gareth Bale, who leads the line, we've got Tom Lawrence, we've got Aaron Ramsey, and we have the number 13 David Brooks, recently arrived at Bournemouth. We'll have full build-up with Gary Breen and Nathan Murphy from the Cardiff City Stadium ahead of a 7:45 kick-off. It's the UEFA Nations League with Wales and the Republic of Ireland next.
Off the Ball on Newstalk.
Thanks to Screwfix.ie, championing the trade with a choice of over 20,000 quality trade products.
It's time to kill the gulls. How do you feel about that?
People don't listen to the likes of me who say, do not feed the ducks in Stephen's Green with sliced pans. The ducks don't eat the sliced pans, they're vegetarian. And then who comes along and eats the sliced pans? The seagulls do.